Welcome back, episode 2, the Brando show. I know it says Brand from Connecticut, but I'm not in Connecticut. The Cape, I'm in mixed hood right now. I have a very special guest this evening. I've been a little bit critical of the producers and the show in general. It's Mr. It's Mr. Salt Life himself, Jack Coleman.
Wow. What an honor.
Hey everybody out there. Welcome back to the Brando show. I apologize, running a little bit late tonight. Took a quick nap, because I gotta work tonight. Overslept a little bit, cut it a little close, so here we are, a few minutes after 9. That's pretty much where we're at with that. So, we didn't have any shows this week. As you know, the show's on hiatus. I'm still very, very sad about it. But I thought I would come on. I think I'm going to be mostly solo. Might have Kane pop in here and there. But I'm going to grade a couple of the network shows. Talk about the fake MS that happened last night. And talk about a couple other things going on in the network and the community. Talk about the producer shows and kind of go from there. I just wanted to start it off. I was going to bring Kane in if you want to come back in. If you want to just talk about just if you want to say anything for yourself, you're muted still right now. Just about just about the meeting of the mind stuff, going after Jake and kind of losing your mind a little bit. If you wanted to put out any sort of statement, because I know you've been laying low a little bit, so.
You sound a little low energy. You okay? You gotta wake up, man. Come on. Get up.
No, I just woke up. So
the comments are on fire right now. By the way, great job by everybody in the comments. Thank you. You got a good little following. Well, I will say this about Jake. I hate that motherfucker. Everything I said. Again, I was shocked. Montante. I told him I was completely sober. And he bought it. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was an obvious one. I think the Kane and Cokes were flowing that night.
The waters. Stupid move. And I will say this because I was gonna say it on my show, but I'm gonna say it for your show. Boy, did I get in trouble that night by the girlfriend. Oof, man, that was ugly. She wasn't happy. Not good. So I've been laying low. I've been staying away from the booze.
Yep.
But in general, Jake's a piece of shit. What I said, I stand by. He's the kind of guy that tries to, he wants to be part of something. He wants to get going. And I didn't listen to people when they said this guy's just going to fuck you over in the end. I give everybody a fair shot. I know people hate me, and that's fine. And I have a soft spot for Jake. I did like him, but he's exactly what everybody said he was, he deserved every fucking word of that. I would do it again in 2 seconds. I don't feel bad about it. I feel bad that it came out. And I don't remember much of it, but other than that, I stand by it. I mean, he's a bad guy. Case in point. That's all I can say about it, Brando. Would I do it again? I definitely would, 100%.
Well,
a little less drunk. That's all.
Yeah, I appreciate the honesty, and I know you and I just briefly talked about. I just kind of told you that, hey, I was there for you, and if you thought that being sober for a while would probably be the right thing to do. You thought that that's probably not the worst idea. So
definitely not the worst idea. Probably,
you're
yeah, probably an idea that has been floated to me by many people. I'll be honest,
yep.
like I told you privately, I've kind of been thinking about this for a while. It's just something that obviously it all culminated to one event, and I don't regret saying those things, but I also know that it's obviously embarrassing. So it's a tale of two stories. One is my girlfriend's gonna didn't like it, wasn't enjoyable.
No,
And the other part of it is I'm glad I said it. I don't know. It's a weird dichotomy.
I definitely I can definitely hear you there that sometimes what is it, drunk thought, sober thoughts, or people say shit that they're thinking when they're drunk, and they can be very honest. So I think your frustrations all culminated. I mean, I think I somehow got it started by just messing around and kind of saying
Mhm.
Luke was the one who discovered me and kind of fucking around, and then everything kind of started snowballing from there.
Mm.
And yeah, I think Jake. I don't. I go back and forth also with Jake, where I think he's okay sometimes, and he likes to have fun, but also he can be very annoying. Um,
See, I think what's
you probably know
missed.
him a little better than me. That's the
Yeah,
other
I
thing.
think what's missed, Brando, is you don't see what the private stuff is, and not that I'm going to share it, but he says things to me that after again, I go on, nobody else will go on with this guy. Nobody would do the shows that I've done with him. They just wouldn't do it. I I'm sorry, at Laconia was
Hmm.
just minding my business. The guy said something to me. I feel bad for him. Like, you know what? I'll put myself out there. Obviously, it got some crazy reaction. I took all the fucking heat for all of it.
That's true.
And he
That
sits
is true.
there.
You got whacked.
Again, he said to me, "Don't fuck me over." And I thought about it. This really should be on the other network. But I didn't plan it out. It wasn't planned. So I knew it wasn't going to be great. But at the end of the day, like, if you look at his traffic on his site, he has like 3 views, 5 views, then one of them's like 3,000. And it's like he has no appreciation for anything. He didn't give a fuck. And he basically was just like, "You're a coward." And when he said that, that fucking pissed me off to no end. And I just realized what
Yeah.
a scumbag he was. That's all. That's where it
Well,
came from.
yeah. I can hear that.
Mm.
So I just wanted you to give you some time. I didn't mean to surprise you or anything, because I didn't get a long
All right.
time to talk to you before the show, because I just woke up about 10 minutes before I had to go on. But I want to give you some time, and I think that's what we did. So I don't know if you got anything else to say, or you want me to let me go solo for a little bit.
Go ahead. It's your show. That's all I
All
got to
right.
say.
Thanks,
All right,
buddy.
Brando. I'll be in the comment area.
All right. So that was Kane. It sounds like he's not a big fan of Jake, which some people are not. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I try to help people when I can. So yeah, thanks, Freddie. I could not get to the quote, "drunk man's words, sober man's thoughts." Like I said, I'm half awake. I'm trying to chug some caffeine right now. I took a nap and ended up going too long till about 8:50. So I'm trying to wake up live on the Brando show right now. So I'm sorry. I saw Menor said I was a little low energy. I can't argue with that. So we're going to get there. We'll get there as a team. So I'm going to start with the network stuff. I picked a few of the network shows. They just all happen to be the ones that got a lot of views, it seems like. I went through a couple. And I broke each one down like I would a KMS show. So I started with the What Else podcast, the monthly podcast by Cinema Lords, which this was the second installment. This was the February edition, and I thought that was a great show. I had that as the best of the 3 shows. that I reviewed, and I gave the show an overall 90, an A minus. So that show was great. I know it got well over 1,000 views, close to probably 1,500 now. So it was well received. Um, I thought everybody was pretty good in that show. Uh, it was very funny to me that Montante was getting super mad at Mayo because he was taking notes. I think that's just kind of who Mayo is. He's, I don't know if it's a bit per se, but he is a guy that is always doing something that might annoy you, but he doesn't really mean it. It's just who he is. You know, it's not easy being Mayo's friend, as I've learned time and time again. It's not always easy. But Montante was getting very mad at Mayo, and then John and Warren actually had a little joke or a little tidbit after that saying, "Oh, if you didn't have glasses, would you still take notes?" And I like my guy John and Warren, but that thing fell very, very flat. And I kind of just shook my head and said, "All right, well, Johnny tried one, but that one didn't quite hit." I also want to say I haven't always been a cinema guy. I think I get bored a little bit by some of the movie stuff, but I did get to meet him in Laconia, and super cool guy there. I got to meet him and his girlfriend a little bit before the show, and he's a super chill guy to talk to. I think for him that is a perfect role. He's a great just host. He was good at going to different guys, asking their opinions, and directing the show. It seems like he's a born leader in that way. Maybe a possible Mike and the Minifans guy, to fill in for Mick if he's going to be gone for any extended period of time. I think that's a really good role for him. So on that show, they had their top top new third chairs of the month, and I believe there are four. I think it was me, Kevin from Bristol, DG, and the Steinman, which we will get to the Steinman later. I have some comments about the Steinman, a little bit out on him. But in the semifinals, it was me against Kevin from Bristol. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, when they put me against Kevin from Bristol, because I thought him and I were probably the best two of the month. With him, and Stein, I thought were all pretty close, but I thought maybe me and Kevin were the most well received. So they put me against Kevin, and I was a little nervous when I was listening to it at work. I was walking around at work and I was listening. And I unanimously beat Kevin in the semifinals, and I was like, wow, that's incredible, because Kevin from Bristol's been around for as long as I've known the show. He's a big part. He's a great guy. I got to meet him as well. He's a very funny guy. I was slightly starstruck when I met Kevin from Bristol, if you can believe it. And then on the other side, it was Stein and DG, which I think one or two people on that show were saying, "Oh, who's DG?" Which is hilarious because they literally just forgot who he was. And I mean, it's fairly understandable. He didn't seem to be a massive fan of the show, or he wasn't a fan for very long, so he did not have much of an impression on the Minifans. He went in, though. I got to give him credit. He went in and he tried, but I don't think it really worked for DG. I think it might be a one and done for DG. So it ends up being me and the Steinman in the finals for best third chair of the month. And I took down the Steinman, which I'm happy about too, especially with what happened lately. I think we saw who is committed to the Minifans and who might be just in for some views or might have outside work stuff affecting it. I mean, to me, a job is a job, but the Minifans are forever, so I'm willing to put it all on the line. You can never say Brando was not willing to put it all on the line. I mean, I'm doing a podcast right now. I'm half awake. I look like a fool. You can't say I'm not in it. So I end up taking it down. They all say I'm the best third chair of the month, which is awesome. And obviously that strokes my ego a little bit, makes me feel a little better, and just makes me miss the show even more because I'm just looking forward to maybe coming back in and maybe helping Justin with the studio. He said he would let me know. He said he had a couple things he was going to need help with, and he would let me know. So that was the main gist of the show. They spoke about everything over the month. My grades are as follows: John from Scranton, who was mostly the producer, he got a C plus, which is a 78. Mayo, I gave him. He had the lowest grade of everybody. I like Mayo. He's my friend, but he got the lowest grade. He got a 76, which is a C. I think he was annoying. It's not really his fault, and he kind of brought the energy down a little bit at the beginning. Between him and Montante, it was slightly Montante's fault too for kind of keep going at Mayo. And when you think Ted is gonna be in, who's like a high energy, good energy guy, and you get Mayo, who can be up, he can be down. I think that it just brought the energy down a little bit. I do like him. He has good insight, but just some of the stuff he does is just annoying. And I would tell him right to his face. And I think I did earlier. I stopped in at his business, and we talked for a few minutes because he was supposed to be on tonight, but he's not. He's not feeling well today, so he wasn't able to join us. So that's part of the reason why Brando is solo tonight. So if this is super boring so far, you might have Mayo to blame for that. So just remember that when you get your pitchforks out and your torches, don't come for Brando, come for Mayo. Montante, I thought he had a good show. I might have negated a handful of points for him kind of being a jerk to Mayo, but I guess Mayo annoys him, so I don't know if he can really help it too much. I gave him an 84 for that show, which is a solid B. And then the highest grade on anyone, I gave Cinema a 90, an A minus. I think that was the perfect role. Like I said earlier, he's a great host. He's a great leader of men, and I thought he just did awesome. And he's got to get some credit for putting that show together, for coming up with the idea. Doing the clip of the month is awesome. That was another good idea he had. So I got to give him credit for hosting the show, for creating the show, and just being an overall nice guy, which Cinema is. At the end of the day, you might find him boring. You might think he's a smelly Portuguese guy, but he's a nice guy. And my good buddy, fan of the Brando show, John Warren, I gave him an 80, a B minus. So I thought that was fair. I thought John had a decent show, but as usual, he didn't bring a lot extra. He was there. He tried a couple jokes. They fell short on a few occasions, but the best ability is availability. So. Alright, the next network show that I graded was Freddy's Fireside Chat. This may be the last episode we have seen of Freddy. Unfortunately, I think the show has momentum. I feel bad that he has to step away for a while because this was one of my favorite ones that I had seen. Now, am I biased because they talked about Brando a decent amount? I might be. That there might be something to that, but I thought his conversation with Dave and Justin was very good. I gave him an 88, a B plus. So he was sorry, the show itself was an 88. He got a slightly lower grade, but the show itself was a B plus. It was just a little bit behind the What Else show. I thought it was a super good conversation with the producers. They went over some of the stuff as far as the studio goes and what they're going to be doing. The only thing that hurt it a little bit and probably kept it from an A is that they did have a producer show beforehand that same day where they went over some of the same stuff, so they might have kind of rehashed stuff a little bit, but overall I thought it was good. Justin absolutely crushed the trivia, which I knew that he would, because he's an old school Minifan through and through, and he's very good with a lot of the old stuff and remembering stuff about the show. I think between him and Mike Geary, they're right there. A1, A1, A2, right there for like KMS historians, where if Kirk is going during a show and he goes over to Mike or Justin and says, "Oh, remember this, or that," and they typically know. So those guys are the real deal. So that's probably why they're on the show on a regular basis, because they really do care. And they know a lot about the show. The other big takeaway of what I was listening to was Justin really enjoyed my little one of my go-to jokes, which is I gotta race like a piss horse. You know, you just switch those two words around. Usually gets a good laugh. Like he said, I walked by him, I said it, I looked back for his approval, and I think he might have just given me a little nod or a little thumbs up, and I was like, nice. That one landed. That was a good one. Thing. As far as anything else from that show, I think that's kind of the gist of it. They updated us on what was going on. It was a good conversation overall. It flowed well. It was pretty funny when the trivia just comes right in the middle, and as Dave says, sometimes it just takes the momentum right out of the show, but I do enjoy the trivia. And I think I got almost all of them right as well. I think I'm not too far behind Justin when it comes to a lot of those old school KMS deep cuts for trivia. So I generally do pretty well with it, and it's one of the parts I'm going to miss the most. About Freddie and about the Fireside chats in general. So on that show, as far as individuals, I gave Freddie 86, just a straight B. I thought he was good. I have to deduct a little bit of points just because I think it stinks that it was the last one for a while, so it did make me a little bit sad on the inside. Like Dale Arnold, and that makes me sad. No. I gotta stop with the bits, and I gotta stop with the little interjection. It's like I'm back in the studio again. I'm just saying, Mammy. Yeah. That's, I gotta look inward on that. I gotta look inward. Dave, I gave him an 84. Right in the middle of the B conversation. Maybe just slightly worse than Freddie. Same general vicinity. And then Justin, I think he's been on a nice little roll himself. And just for how well he did with the trivia, I gave him an 88, which is a B plus in my book. So overall, it was a good show. It was very enjoyable. I was listening to it while I was walking around the old folks' home. And I was pleasantly surprised. And maybe I didn't really appreciate it till it was gone. I think it might be that situation because I never really sat there and thought, oh man, I'm gonna really miss Fireside Chats until it was taken away. And then I was like, wow, that was a good product by Freddie. Keep an eye out for some possible Brando Freddie some crossover content. So it could be in the works. There was also a Steinman Brando crossover at some point that was in the works, but I don't think you're gonna get that. I don't think that's happening now. I think we've seen the last of the Steinman. All right, and then for the third network show that I graded is the Menners Live Laconia recap. It had about 15 people, if you remember correctly. It had a lot of people. That one I gave an 80, a B minus. I'd say it was good. It was just a little bit behind those other two shows. But it was enjoyable. It was good. You had Kevin from Bristol. You had Billboard chart guy. You had my producer, the Cane Train. You had John from Scranton. And you had Menner, the man himself, the CEO. Kevin from Bristol, like I said, he was awesome. A super nice guy to meet in person. And he makes me laugh when he's tying everything back into his acting career. And he's talking about, being in theaters and, oh, when I was a young lad, I was in a theater just like this. Or something, something similar to that. It does make me laugh. He was pretty decent on the show. I was very sad about not meeting Billboard chart guy. Once I heard that Billboard chart guy was at Laconia and I didn't get the chance to meet him, that hurt. That definitely hurt. He seems like a cool, down-to-earth guy. I don't think I imagined him like this kind of older bald man, but I guess that's what he is, so. And they did go over some McCain stuff, the red carpet stuff, which my official comment is I think it took balls to try to walk up to people and interview them. Now, was the execution where he would want it to be? No, I don't necessarily think so. Was it slightly creepy? Did people kind of feel bad for him in some ways? Maybe yes. Does he also lose points because Jake was a part of it? And Jake is sometimes, well, no, most of the time, a negative content-wise. Yes, he does lose some points with that. But I thought it took guts. And I didn't mind it as much as some people, as far as people felt like he was shoving a camera in people's faces. I think it wasn't properly planned. It was a last-minute type of thing. And the idea is there. I think with the proper planning and having it on the network, maybe having people being able to comment, from their own homes that aren't there at the same time, that could have been helpful. But let's just adjust that. But it did ultimately fall flat, but I have to give him credit for trying, I think, on that one. So for that show, I gave Menners a 78, a C+. I thought he was okay. Didn't think he was anything super special. I think he's been getting a little bit heavy with the bits lately. A little bit of the played up Menners, and I like the more dialed back Menners a little bit. I've been listening to a lot of Minifandom, and when he's just bullshitting with Minifans and he's having a little bit of fun, I think that's when he's at his best. I think this this Menners with the bravado and you know, him puffing his chest out. It just can get a little tired for me. Kevin from Bristol, I thought he was pretty good. He did bring up stuff about himself a decent amount. I gave him a B minus, an 80. Billboard chart guy, I thought he was good. He had some good insight about the show. I gave him an 88, which is a B plus. Kane, I gave him an 82. I thought he was just right around where Kevin was. He did okay in the panel. I thought he had a decent show. Like I said, maybe just some points taken out for just the execution of the red carpet. Like I said, the idea is a good one. I was kind of surprised that somebody thought of it. I would not have thought of that. I don't have that creative mind, you know. From the Brando show, I just kind of come on here, grade a couple of things, and ramble. I don't have the mind of some of these people to come up with these things. And then John from Scranton, I gave a straight B, an 84. So that was the top 3, or the 3 that I chose of the network shows to give a little quick grade. I mean, we have to adapt right now because there are no shows, and we gotta do what we gotta do and find something to grade. And I just wanted to give you guys at least something, and not just give up over the break. So even though I was very depressed, as everyone heard on my call to the show. So we had 3 producer shows. In the meantime, I kind of graded them all as 1 because they kind of all end up feeling the same, give or take. Which I thought, you know, the producer shows, they can be boring. Some people hate them, some people like them. It seems to be like kind of split. But there's a few things that I do really like about the producer shows. When Cullinane just starts reading the chat and he stops what he's doing and it stops him in his tracks, and he gets very into the chat, that's very funny to me. He'll just be saying something and be like, oh, what's that, DG? And Justin will be like, what's up? And he just goes off on a tangent and he doesn't make sense, and he'll just totally change what he's talking about because some random shit was said in the chat. I have to say, Cully, you're very into the chat. I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy. I know some other people that are into the chat too, and sometimes it can be very dangerous. I'll just tell you that. Also, super funny that Justin said he was commenting on the Nikki Smokes thing with the other lady, Anna. That's from Barstool. And when Justin said that he would be cool with people fucking, because essentially he would want to fuck his workers if he was the boss, that was very funny. That made me laugh out loud. And then immediately he stopped and he said, "Oh no, I was just joking about that." So, Dave, you better have that clipped. I know you're not a drop guy, but you better have that ready for April 16th. You better have that ready. Let's see what else that was big on the producer shows. They talked about the studio a little bit, and now the last one today they were talking about getting the ball rolling, and then an electrician coming in. So it's a good look to me that they are actually having a plan and talking to Barstool and not just kind of throwing it together, because I think it could go very, very badly if they're just winging it. Now, I am still waiting. My phone is on. I am still waiting for Justin to give me that call and say, "Hey, Brando, we need that blue collar experience," you know, because Brando knows how to swing a hammer. Brando can lift things up and put them down. So anything I can do, that the guys know I'm willing to help. So I'll turn my phone ringer all the way up just to make sure I don't miss that call. Other than that, I appreciate them doing the producer shows. It might not always be the most entertaining thing because it is missing Kirk, which is at the end of the day is the most important part of this whole thing. Without Kirk, there's nothing. Without Kirk, there's no Brando. Without Kirk, there's nobody. We're all zeros, and when we're in there with Kirk, or we're connected to Kirk or around Kirk, it brings us up at least a little bit because he can take losers like Justin or myself, Montante, fat losers like Montante and Justin that have gambling addictions, or me, which is just kind of a jacked guy in Connecticut, and he can make them interesting. That's the kind of talent that Kirk Minahan is. So for those 3 shows total, I gave it an 80, a B-. It's definitely better than having nothing. I remember, in months past, I would be saying, hey, why aren't you guys doing producer shows? Like when there were different Barstool breaks and stuff like that, I'd be drilling into them, being kind of annoying when I would send like 15, 20 DMs to Dave Cullinane without getting a response. It would be, why aren't you guys doing a producer show? You guys got to be doing something. And I was honestly just trying to help. I wasn't trying to be that guy. And then they would come back and Kirk would be like, why didn't we do anything during the break? And I'd be like, damn it, Brando told you so. I wasn't trying to be that guy, but something is better than nothing, even if it's mediocre. So that was kind of it for the producer shows. It's been nice to have something. That's kind of where I'm at for that. So, and the final thing that I was going to grade is the fake MS, if you will. Premiered last night with Menners playing the role of Kirk Minahan, wanting to put Kirk Minahan's skin on himself, and jump around. Coleman was on there. They had Montante, which it seems like Montante has been on absolutely everything lately. I did consider asking him if he wanted to come on tonight, but that would be like 3 or 4 things in the last week that Montante was on, so the world might be a little Montante'd out right now. And we also had John from Scranton on the 1s and 2s. Now, I'm a big John from Scranton guy. He's a day one Fando, and I'm a day one John from Scranton guy. He's a good dude. His brain might be mush, but he's a good honest man. So, a couple big things from the MNS, the Minifan Network show, where I thought it was very funny that John from Scranton just was ignoring all Menner's calls and text. And he just said, I didn't want to deal with you because I knew you were going to be a pain in the ass. So I just kind of blew you off until the show. And, the proof was in the pudding with that because everything went very smoothly. And I don't think Menners could have any complaints about what John did. John had all that stuff at the ready. He had all the screenshots. The screenshot of me tweeting, saying I'm arm waving. He had the screenshot about Stein at the ready. Faxy, my fellow mustache brother. We have the famous mic right here. The only problem is if you touch this thing, it makes some crazy noises. So you're probably hearing it now, but as you guys can tell, this is the mic from when Kane was going absolutely ballistic at Jake and smashing his hands on the table. This is the one. It is here, but it is not currently in frame. But it is very cool. Sorry, I got distracted by Fax and the cool mic. So, I wanted to dislike Menners pretending to be Kirk. I thought it was going to be very cringy, and it was not going to be funny at all. And it hurts me. It does. It hurts me because Menners has been annoying me lately, which he's very good at doing. It hurts me to say that I thought it was actually very funny when Menners walked in, pretended to be Kirk, and said, "Oh, are we live?" And he had a couple other tidbits in there, saying that Mick just reminded him of him when he was younger, and And he had a couple different things that Kirk says that I can't remember off the top of my head, but for some reason I found them endearing and I did not find them annoying. I did want to clear up a few things from that show because I got brought up a lot. I did try to save Mike and Minifans the other night. I had woken up. It was 5 p.m. on Friday, and I was super excited. I was like, sweet, I get to go on with Stein. It should be a nice, cool, new Mike and the Minifans format. And then I see Stein can't do it. From what we know, he was facing some pressure from Newsmax, and, they pretty much said you can't even comment or like a Kirk Minahan Twitter post or a Minahan Show Twitter post, or you're going to get shit canned. Now, do I think some of it's exaggerated? Who's to say? Do I think maybe he just got a little nervous and it was kind of like 2 years ago where he is in his head a little bit and he's very paranoid about, every little thing he does is going to get him fired? Yes. It's kind of like Andy Mayo back in the day, thinking anything he does is going to get used against him and he's going to get doxxed and stuff like that. It's like when Mayo was talking about Laconia, and he's such a crazy person that he said he can't have fun because he's worried about people using him having fun or drinking against him. It's like, Mayo, stop caring what everyone thinks so much and just have fun. Once you realize that people's opinions don't mean shit, you can have a lot more fun and be yourself. Not everyone is against you. And even you and I talked about this today. It's a lot of the same stuff with Mick, where everyone's always against him, which not always is the case. And I do feel for Mick, and I think he's definitely going through some stuff. But not everyone's always against you, and trust me, people aren't always looking for you to mess up so they can use it and be mean to you. Just have fun. Just do your thing. Look at me. I'm a retarded guy, and I'm sitting here doing a show, trying my best not to care about what people think about me. So for the record, on the Mike and the Minifans stuff, I was not white knighting. I wouldn't call it white knighting, at least what I was trying to do. I woke up at 5. I tried to get a panel together. I tried to see who was around. I messaged John. He said, no, now I have plans. I can't produce. I said, okay. I messaged Menners. He wasn't around to produce. I tried to move it to Saturday. Menners said he couldn't produce. I was going to learn how to do StreamYard myself and produce it myself if I had to, because I wanted to bring the Minifans something. Did I want to get some brownie points with the Minifans? Yes. Did I want to be the hero and make up for Stein kind of, blowing everyone off and leaving everyone high and dry? Yes. I did want to be the hero. I'll admit that. But I wanted to help out the Minifans too and give them at least something, because I was personally very excited, and it was a big letdown when there was nothing. Especially when we don't have any Kirk Minahan show and we need content badly. We're stuck watching Barstool content. We're stuck listening to old podcasts. I was like really excited for Mike and the Minifans, and then it was just a big letdown. So I was contacting people, Drew was supposed to be on, Danny and Belrecca was supposed to be on. Both those guys ended up being busy. Danny had he had lost power, so he was having to go to some other house that had power. So he, everybody had legitimate excuses, but all of a sudden there was no panel, there were no producers, and I just couldn't do it. And then I put out the poll, and it was like 50-50 if that, if people even wanted it to happen. So I said, you know what? I tried. I was going to put it together, but I guess it wasn't going to work out. So my hope is that it's back this week. I'm hoping Mick brings it back so we can be back on track and have one more piece of content to consume, during this dark, dark time in history. Oh, the other thing that's been discussed between Twitter, it's been discussed on different shows, is people possibly buying views. Now, me personally, I can say 100% I have not bought any views. I think my last episode, the reason it got so many views was because one, there's nothing else to watch right now because the show is, the show went down. Mick also had just announced, he was going after Kirk at that time. And I had Blind Mike on, and Blind Mike is, you get that Blind Mike bump. People like him. They like the Blind Mike project. They like a lot of the stuff that he does, and he's been with the show for 5 or 6 years now. So you're gonna get a lot of people going there just for Mike. It wasn't about Brando on that one. I think it was about Mike. But I did think it was a good conversation, and I was happy to see that a lot of people watched it. So I didn't buy any views. I don't really even know how to buy views, but I can't speak for anyone else on the network when it comes to buying views. So, did other people buy views? Who's to say? That's kind of left for you people out there to decide. There were a lot of views out there as I posted 4 different shows with well over 1,000 views, which I didn't think that happened maybe ever, but definitely not for a while. And let's see. Oh, the grades for the grades overall. I thought it was a good show. I don't think it was a copy of Kirk Minahan's show. I think it was more of like a cross between Menors Live and Mike and the Minifans. So I don't think it was a direct copy, but it was an enjoyable show. I'll give him credit. I had my doubts going in, but I did enjoy it. I listened to it last night at work. I didn't get to listen live, but I listened to it later on. I gave it an 88, a B+. I thought it was solid. And it hurts me to say I gave Menors, the CEO, also an 88 because I thought he did well. I thought it was going to be cringy, but it was actually pretty funny, him pretending to be Kirk, and I thought he controlled the panel pretty well. Coleman, I thought he was solid. He's been on a little tear lately. He got an 86. Montante, maybe we just been a little Montante'd out. He still ended up with a B-, an 80, which is not bad for him, but maybe we're a little bit burnt out on Montante right now. And John from Scranton, wow. An 88 as well. He's right there with Menors. He was well prepared. He ignored Menors, which was very funny. Him and Menors going back and forth, I do enjoy that because John is not afraid to fuck with Menors and tell him, that his shit actually does stink, which sometimes he doesn't think it does. So I enjoyed it. The only thing that stinks is he said it was supposed to be Kirk Minahan's show, so I was expecting 2 or 3 episodes at least a week, and now it sounds like we're only getting one. So that is a little bit disappointing. I thought we were going to get a good chunk of content out of that, but even one show a week, I guess, is better than nothing. So, I was going to react to some of the dozen match, but like I said, I ended up taking a nap and it went longer than expected. So, I think for the last couple minutes, I'm just going to take some comments and questions from the chat. Jackson wants to see the notes. I don't have many things to say about NFL free agency. It seems like the Patriots made a lot of moves. I don't know a lot of the names. Thanks to Kirk Minahan, I haven't been keeping up with sports super closely. I check in now and again, and I watch most of the Patriots games, but it isn't like before when I was listening to EI where I didn't miss many. Excuse me. I didn't miss many games. I'm pretty much a Kirk Minahan show guy now, and not as much of a sports guy as I once was. What do I think about Don the Jeweler getting banned from commenting and supporting you on the Brando show? Well, was he banned from commenting? I haven't really had the comments up, so I don't know if that's true or if people are screwing around. But I'm a big Don the Jeweler guy. He does get to me sometimes because he can be critical, and I've had some people lately kind of suggest that I'm arm waving because I made a few comments on Kirk Minahan's post, and I'm just kind of trying to be part of the world. And at this point, me and Kirk are getting lunch probably this week at Halfway Cafe, so I figured if I can talk to him in person, I can talk to him on the internet. So I didn't really think that would be a big deal considering we're pretty much best friends at this point. So, what else we got? Kane, you're muted.
There's just no questions. There's nothing really there.
Did you ban Don? Was he going crazy or what?
Oh, you know what happened? I didn't ban him. My mouse slipped and knocked him off. I didn't.
Oh, guys! It was an accident. It was a simple accident by the cane
mouse
train.
Slipped and it somehow knocked him out of the chat. And what I'm hearing, I mean, I hear he's kind of off the network media too, so he's not really on the Twitter account anymore, which is sad. But yeah, it was an accident. I didn't mean it. I'm a big Don guy. You know, I'm a big Don guy. But
I know you are. I know you're a massive Don guy. I do know that.
I'm trying to get the questions in for you, and it just,
I saw a handful of things. I don't know if a lot of them were questions. Some of them looked like comments more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, but also, do you think Freddie watches your show? Because he wanted me to put all the comments up as they come in, or the questions. But I told him,
I don't typically.
That's right. I said that to him.
When I'm going, I don't always have the comments pop up necessarily, except for towards the end.
Yes.
But yeah.
I'll let you go. But I just wanted to say, just not many questions. So
okay.
It's up to you what you want to do. You want to wait around and.
Yeah, I'll just talk for a little bit, and then if anything comes through, we'll answer it, and we'll wrap it up. We're already closing in on an hour anyway here, so.
Let me get out of here.
Thanks. Facts. Facts. What do you have to say about your feud with Coleman? I'm not sure which place Kane likes to sleep more. As long as there's a dry spot, I think Kane will sleep wherever, the night that his girlfriend booted him out because he was losing against Jake, he probably enjoyed the couch that night. So it happens to the best of us, I guess. I am very interested in this beef between Jack Coleman and Fax. I am one of the few, the proud, the Fax fans, if you will, or at least I don't mind Fax most of the time. I think he's a nice enough guy. It's not his fault he's boring, and he can be annoying. He's a nice guy, so I have a hard time hating anybody, and I don't hate Fax, that's for sure. But it's very interesting to see these two going after each other. So, boner salad. I guess, you know what? We'll pull up that boner salad one. And I think that'll be the last quick question. Who wins in a rough and rowdy? Well, Fax is kind of a smaller guy. He's not super short, but he's probably about 5'7", 5'8". And Coleman's about 6'3", but we know Coleman's kind of a big pussy because he's kind of a big rich kid, so he's very soft and he's kind of shaped like a marshmallow. But Fax is military, he's smaller. I'm gonna have to take Coleman, I think, on that one, just based on size. It's hard to go against size on that one. Yeah, I mean, as far as Tim Smith goes, I sent him a message because I didn't know that he was of the LGBTQIA community. I was not aware. I heard that Tim Smith was gay during the during the show last night, the Minifan Network show, I did hear that that Tim Smith was a gay man. So I just want to say I support him. I don't make judgments. I've patched it up with another gay man, as some of you may know. Tommy Quinlan and I have squashed the beef, and I think we're in a pretty good spot now. So I'm an ally. I'm right there with Dave Cullinane. I support everybody. So if Tim Smith wants to do that, if he wants to mix it up with the blokes over there in Britain, then I got nothing against him. So, all right. Well, it's been a decent show. This was the first time trying almost an entire show with just Brando. I know we started off very slow. I was half asleep. I had just woken up, as I've said a lot. I know people love when I repeat myself like 15 times, but I think we picked it up. I think it was a decent show overall. I'm curious to see if other people like the solo stuff or if they like me with a guest more or somewhere in between, but I wanted to bring you guys something. I also had Jeff D-Low lined up, but last minute, it wasn't his fault. He told me he was never 100%, but I was banking on him coming on. He had to do the dozen tonight, so look for Jeff. He's going to be on hopefully 2 or 3 weeks from now. And next week, we're going to have the man himself, the 1991 Magic Simulator Man. That little gangly boy from Barstool. Next week at this time, it's going to be either Sunday or Monday. It will be Chris Clemmer himself. So that's who we will have next week, unless he bails. If he bails, you might get another solo Brando show. You never know. But keep an eye out for any other announcements. And with that, I will let you guys go. Thanks for watching.